being an outcast who's frowned upon by society. She fails to find marriage and sneaks out at night to join the army. Meet Mulan, an eccentric young girl who causes chaos by chasing a chicken all the way to the rooftop. Her father, Zhou, looks on with a mix of amusement and pride, while the villagers frown upon her antics. Mulan's mother, Li, worries that, out of her 2 daughters, Mulan is the one who will struggle to find marriage. But Zhou is fully supportive of his daughter's independence, but still agrees to have a talk with her. He warns her about her strong chi. Your chi is strong, but chi is for warriors, not daughters. He continues to tell his daughter to hide her gift and tells her that he is saying all this to protect her as it is his job. Hers is to bring honor to her family through marriage. We're moved to decades later, when the town of ancient China is under attack from the Witch and Hun army. Meanwhile, Mulan is now old enough to get married, and the village matchmaker has found her a suitable match. She is prepared to be taught the qualities of being a good wife. But chaos erupts when a spider drops from the ceiling. Knowing that her little sister is terrified of spiders, Mulan quickly puts a teapot over it to trap it, but gets scolded for her actions. She removes the teapot, and the spider jumps, causing chaos in the room. Mulan uses her quick reflexes and her skills to save the day, but her hair falls in her face, obstructing her view, causing her to fall. The family is called out for not being able to raise a good daughter, and they are publicly shamed. The emperor sends his men to collect men from every household to join the war and fight for his people. Zhou, despite having 2 daughters and being too weak to fight, accepts the call to arms. At home, his wife and daughters try to talk him out of it, but this only infuriates him, causing him to storm out. Li tells her daughters that this time their father may not come back from the war. Mulan goes to check on her father and catches him struggling to hold a sword without trembling. She compliments his sword to break the tension, then he starts telling her about the 3 commandments on the sword: loyalty, honor, and truth. He tells her that he was once followed by a phoenix and that it will follow him again through this war and the ancestors will protect him. His family shouldn't worry about him. Mulan thinks long and hard about her father until she decides to take his place and join the war instead of him. She steals her father's sword along with his armor and steals his horse. In the morning, Zhou is surprised to find his sword along with his armor missing, but he quickly works out the math to know who took it when he sees Mulan's cam. Her wife begs him to go find her, scared that if the northern invaders find her they will kill her, but Zhou expresses a similar concern that if they expose her, her own people will kill her. He goes to pray to his ancestors to protect his daughter from the evils of war. Mulan rides her horse through the wild, searching for training camp until she finds it, and joins the others, disguised as a man. There she has an incident with Chen that ends with them pointing swords at one another, which gets broken up by the commander. The commander notices Mulan's sword and asks her name. She introduces herself as Jun. The commander then asks her if that's her family's sword, and she responds, saying the sword belongs to her father. At night, the sergeant, in their sleeping tents, orders them to shower because they stink, and asks for a volunteer for night guard duty, to which Mulan expeditiously volunteers, avoiding her identity being discovered by her fellow warriors. She comes back from the night guard duty and takes off her armor once everyone is asleep. She encounters yet another close call when one of the men turns over to cuddle, but she stops his hand from touching her chest and hits him with her elbow, and the man rolls to the other side, cuddling with the other guy, which is kinda sus. In the morning, the sergeant reads them their penalties. Stealing, penalty, death. Bringing a woman into camp, penalty, death. When he reaches dishonesty, Mulan freezes in fear as the man takes a minute before naming its penalty: expulsion, disgrace for you and your family, including your village. And the commander begins to train them how to use swords, shoot arrows, and they are told to carry 2 buckets of water to the top of the mountain with their arms straightened out at shoulder level. No one is able to do this Herculean task, with some even shedding tears. But as time progresses, the team gets better and better with each training. One of the men cheats and spills water out of his bucket to reduce its weight, but unfortunately, he gets caught and receives his penalty: dishonesty, expulsion. During lunch, The boys are reading one of the men's poems and discover that the way he describes his woman indicates he is a romantic. And Chen asks Mulan about his ideal woman. Little do they know they're talking to one. She describes herself, saying her ideal woman is courageous, smart, and that she doesn't care how she looks like, which brings the table to a hysterical laugh. But seriously, boys, she looks beguiling to me. Chen tells her to not let them get to her, seemingly getting fond of one another. In the morning, during training, Mulan loses control of herself and uses her chi. Fiercely challenging her partner, Chen, she attracts attention, and everyone huddles to watch her showcase her hidden talent, earning the commander's respect along with everyone else's. The commander summons her into his office, and Mulan fears that her facade has been discovered when the commander mentions that he has had his suspicions. However, the commander tells her not to allow her father's legacy to hold her back. Back in the sleeping tents, everyone applauds her skills, while pointing out that she smells and needs to take a shower. At night, she goes to the lake to take a bath when Chen almost discovers her secret, but Mulan is rude to him purposefully to get rid of him. Meanwhile, Borikhan strategizes with the Rurans to avenge his father's death on the Imperior, but the Rurans express their concerns about the witch, unbeknownst to them that she is in the room with them, disguised as a bird. Borikhan tells them that the witch works for him, so they shouldn't worry about her betraying them. The witch now understands that she is not as omnipotent in their partnership as she had initially thought. In the coming days, Mulan uses her chi freely, carrying the bucket full of water to the top of the mountain with ease, leaving everyone in awe and jealous. Meanwhile, the witch and Borikhan continues to terrorize the Emperor's city with the Rurans. The training is getting closer to completion, and the warriors have to take an oath to be loyal, brave, and true. Mulan remains silent when they get to the truth part. Eaten by guilt, she goes to the commander's office to confess, but the commander doesn't allow her to finish her sentences, mistaking her visit for doubt. Instead, he assures her that she is a good man and suggests that perhaps one day she could accompany him to his village, where he will introduce her to his daughter and their village matchmaker. Completely fazed by this, she kneels and says it would be her great honor. They arrive at a village and witness the aftermath of Borikhan's destruction. Everyone is slaughtered, and no one is left to tell the tale. Their training is cut short, and they plan to attack first, as the commander advises that he who attacks first controls the enemy. As planned, they ambush Borikhan and the Rurans in the morning, but he remains unfazed and orders the Rurans to attack. The Emperor army is caught off guard but manages to force Borikhan and the Rurans to retreat. Mulan continues to chase them, skillfully dodging the arrows shot at her, and follows them into the mountains until she can no longer see them. Just then, an owl emerges from the sky and pushes her off her horse. To her surprise, it's the witch, who effortlessly deflects her attack. The witch asks her who she is, and Mulan introduces herself as Huajun. The witch calls her a liar, warning her that her deceit poisons her chi and that she will die pretending to be something she is not. Meanwhile, the war rages on, and Mulan is knocked unconscious. When she wakes up, she removes her father's armor, ending the deceit and revealing her true self. Mulan returns to the battle to help her friends. She shows off her strong chi as she indulges in battle, savagely defeating the opponents. Then, suddenly, the Rurans begin to retreat, and the witch emerges from the sky, turning herself into a swarm of bats, forcing the Emperor army to take cover. However, this appears to be a ploy to shoot balls of flame to destroy them. But Mulan sees this and sketches a plan to divert their attention to her, so that they can release the balls at her, causing an avalanche. This gives her team an upper hand to survive. Unfortunately, Chen gets carried away by ice after he helps his friend, but Mulan comes to save him. But, guys, can a horse really run through an avalanche? But anyway, when things settle, everyone asks about Mulan's whereabouts. Chen emerges from the fog, and Mulan soon emerges behind him. And everyone is shocked to see that Huajun is a girl. Then, she kneels before the commander to ask for forgiveness, but she receives none. She gets her promised penalty, expulsion. But she asks for execution instead, but the commander tells her that she will get that if he ever lays his eyes on her again. Then, she leaves shamefully. Up in the mountains, she cries, and the witch emerges again, starting to share her life story with her, pointing out that they are the same, and asks her to join her. But she refuses, saying, "The witch follows a coward that runs from battle." But the witch tells her that Borikhan did not run and instead he's targeting the Emperor city. This invigorates Mulan to go protect the Emperor. And she returns to the warriors. She informs them of what Borikhan is planning. And the commander asks for his sword, but Mulan remains unfazed. He doesn't believe her, stating, "Only a foolish man listens to someone who has lied about their existence." Miraculously, Chen stands up for her, saying the only thing she lied about was her gender, and the rest of the warriors back him. And the commander comes to his senses and asks her to lead them to the Emperor city. Mulan leads the Emperor army to the Emperor city to protect the Emperor. Meanwhile, the Rurans sneak into the Emperor city, and the witch possesses the body of the Emperor's chancellor. Heading over to the Emperor, she sets a trap for him, deceitfully forcing him to make rushed decisions. He gathers all the guards into the square, leaving no one to protect the city. Mulan and the warriors hurriedly rush to the Emperor city. When they arrive, all the doors are locked behind them, and the Rurans emerge to attack them. The commander orders Mulan to protect the Emperor, and the warriors clear her way. The Rurans emerge out of nowhere to attack the Emperor, taking out his guards and trapping him. Meanwhile, Mulan and the warriors fight the Rurans, and Chen tells Mulan to focus on the Emperor. Mulan rushes to the Emperor's throne when she reaches his palace and finds the witch, who is in disbelief that a woman leads a men's army. And Mulan asks her where the Emperor is, and tells her that she was right, they're the same. But the witch disagrees, stating that they accepted Mulan, but they will never accept her. Mulan continues to try and change her heart. The witch tells her it's too late for her, and she flies out. Mulan follows her, running on rooftops as she once did as a child. Borikhan has crucified the Emperor. Wait a sec, is that Jet Li? Anyway, when the witch emerges to brag about her thread, referring to Mulan, Borikhan shoots his arrow at Mulan, and the witch quickly to catch the arrow, and Mulan catches her. She tells Mulan to take her place before she dies. Mulan goes to face Borikhan. They both draw their swords, and a fierce fight breaks out. Borikhan underestimates Mulan but soon takes cognizance of her skill and begins to take her seriously, leading Mulan to lose her father's sword to a burning fire. The Emperor shares some words of encouragement. Mulan rises up and continues to face Borikhan, overpowering him and cutting the wire, which causes Borikhan to fall. As she unties the Emperor, Borikhan shoots an arrow at the Emperor, but fortunately, he catches it and throws it. Mulan kicks it to Borikhan. He tries to catch it but fails. The warriors manage to defeat the Rurans, and they celebrate in shock. A ceremony is made for Mulan's heroic acts. She is appointed as an officer in the Emperor's guard. But she humbly declines because she still has to face the ramifications of her actions at home. Mulan leaves for home.